welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to take a look at the top 20 muscle building and fat burning foods of all time. Now if you're anything like me, you may have had the false perception that whenever you saw somebody who was ripped and muscular, that he had a diet that consists of boiled chicken breasts and steamed broccoli. Now if that was the case, I wouldn't be too attracted to the bodybuilding lifestyle myself. But as I was going through my own personal kitchen, I was looking at the foods that I was using every day to build muscle, to recover, and to maximize my performance in the gym. I noticed something very interesting, that the options that I have are actually quite appealing, and they're not repetitive and they're not boring. So with that said, let's take a look at the top 20 foods that not only you should eat occasionally, but that you should be relying on a regular basis. I've always understood muscle growth in terms of analogies, and I want to share one with you. One is my building analogy. I like to look at my body kind of like a house, a one-story house, and to get to a more impressive 3- or 4-story house, I need to add more walls. Now the problem is that every time I go to the gym, I break one wall down and I go back down to base level. So as you know, we come home, we refuel with certain foods to help rebuild that wall. But if we don't add any new material, then we're kind of just basically breaking down the wall that we currently have, rebuilding it, breaking it down, rebuilding it, and we never ever see any progress. So that's where our nutrition comes into play, and that's how we're going to break up these two videos. In part one, we're going to look at foods that help build the wall even higher, proteins and carbs. Then what we're also going to do is we're going to look at the foods that help prevent the wall from getting broken down. Healthy fats, fruits, and vegetables, and we'll look at those foods next week. Does that make sense? All right, let's get started. All right, in no particular order, let's start off with salmon. My salmon's frozen right now, but salmon is loaded in healthy fats and it's high in protein. Now the healthy fats being omega-3s, which are responsible for heart, hair, and hormone health. And I like to have my salmon later on in the day, and I try to have at least one slice a day. Alternatives to salmon are sardines, mackerel, catfish, and trout. Next, we're going to take a look at two forms of meat. We've got lean, extra lean ground beef. This is excellent to mix in with your pasta. And we've also got sirloin, really great grilling steaks that are really high in fat. They're long lasting, slow releasing. They're even slower releasing if you add beans or vegetables to them as well. Now the importance of getting meat into your diet is it contains cholesterol. Now we're looking at that from a positive standpoint first off, and then that's going to help increase testosterone production in your body, which is the #1 hormone for muscle growth. Now you want to eat this in moderation. You don't want to indulge in this every single day, and whenever you're eating meat, always vouch for the lean side of the spectrum. Next is skinless chicken breast. I don't know what I can tell you about chicken that you probably don't already know. This is one of the highest forms of protein, very low in fat, excellent for bulking up your muscles but not bulking up your waistline. Next, the most premier form of protein, in my opinion, are whole eggs. I like to have at least 4 every morning, and yes, I do eat the egg yolk. That's where all the nutrition is. The only time I don't, I cut back on the egg yolk is if I'm concerned about the calories, and I'll stick to more egg whites. I always buy free run omega-3. Again, you're getting more health benefits, and they're coming from healthier animals. One of the most convenient forms of protein is light flake tuna. Back in the day, bodybuilders wouldn't be caught dead without a can of tuna in their gym bag, primarily because it's high in protein, low in fat, low in carbs, and it's obviously easy to consume. Now, one note is I always go with light flake tuna. It's lower in mercury, it's not as expensive, and it's higher in omega-3s instead of buying white albacore tuna, which is the opposite. The most convenient form of protein, a huge lifesaver, is protein powder. Now this particular protein powder is called IsoSmooth. It contains 4 different isolates. It contains whey isolate, casein isolate, egg isolate, and milk isolate. So I'm getting different streams of protein into my bloodstream. I want to highlight the importance of whey. Whey is the most rapidly absorbed protein into your bloodstream, which is very important at breakfast time and after your workout. You can't get much more convenient than this. So you need whey protein in your diet. It's a must. Let's take a break from protein and move on to the most anabolic nutrient of all time. And that's good old-fashioned H2O. Now what I've got here is a 4-liter jug of water to show you what you should be consuming every single day minimum, especially if you're 200 pounds and above. Now, as you probably know, your body consists of 70% water, and you can't go longer than 3 or 4 days without it. So that should tell you something. The take-home message here is you cannot build muscle in a dehydrated state. That's how critical this nutrient is. You also can't build muscle and burn fat without complex carbohydrates, specifically ones that are slow releasing and long lasting. Now I want to highlight the ones I rely on the most. Number one are yams. Whether you've had 1, 10, or 100, keep eating more. Yams are one of the most powerful muscle building complex carbohydrates of all time. They're low with vitamins, minerals, fiber. They're long lasting, slow releasing, and if you put some cinnamon on them like my wife does for me, they taste amazing as well. Next is oatmeal. There's a reason why every single bodybuilder has this in their cupboard. It's because it's slow burning, long lasting, it's low in sugar, doesn't spike insulin levels, so it prevents fat storage. Similar to the functions of oatmeal, whole grain rice, and I'll even mention the whole grain pasta, functions the same way. They're slow burning, long lasting, control insulin levels, and they provide a stable and steady stream of energy. The last complex carb is whole grain bread. Now I prefer the other sources I mentioned over and above this one because there's less refinement to it. But my take on bread is that it is just more convenient. So it's there for me in case I don't have time to do the other ones. And I always go for whole grain. So there you go, proteins and carbs. Those are two of the foods that are gonna play a role in building new walls to your house to allow you to get bigger and more impressive. Next week, we'll take a look at the foods that are gonna help prevent those walls from getting stripped down and maintain them so that you can continue to build quicker. And those are the foods called fruits, vegetables, and healthy fat.